Okay. Hi. Oop, turn this light off. Hi. First thing you'll notice, I got a haircut. I got, in fact, all of them cut. Because it's summer and my head was getting hot. Uh, okay. Yeah, the morning really kind of escaped me. We're we're over 45 minutes later than a normal start, and 15 minutes after my delayed start. So that just escaped me. We're making a pizza. So I'm gonna have to jump into it and not really waffle about too much. Uh, Isosceles, you're first. Amazing. Welcome in. Um, on account of it being a delayed start, and I was gonna do this anyways, but I've got the fancy magic pot, which we can still see up here. We won't be on the camera very much for it because I've learned it's not a terribly exciting thing. So it can, except for the steam release, which we're not doing today. Uh, but one of the functions on the Magic Pot is dough proofing, which is great because I bought a pre-made pizza dough. Okay, full disclosure, I did not make this pizza dough. This pizza dough was pre-made. However, it's cold. It was in the fridge since last night in this bowl with a little bit of oil on it so it doesn't stick. Um, and then I took it out this morning, but I should have taken it out earlier, so it's still cold. So we're going to try the proofing function on the thing there to see if we can wake it up real fast. I tested, and this bowl fits inside the thing. So we're actually going to start by going off camera so you can't see anything. But we're going to, once again, test out this magic machine, which so far has been very magical. We will simply plunk the thing in the middle, close the lid, get to the proof on warm, and I don't know. I suppose it doesn't lock it in while it's proofing, it just makes it kind of warm in there, so let's give it 30 minutes. And I can always check on it because it doesn't lock the top. Selena, Saizan, thank you for the moisten. Ah, everybody's rolling in. Moist. Yes, I got my hairs cut quite forcibly. I went for something slightly different. It's actually a little bit longer on the top than last time, but it's much shorter on the sides. I went for like shaved down to bristles on the sides. I wanted something summery and cool that would dry out fast after a shower and not make me all warm. So that's what we went with. I also like to get haircuts that I can then avoid getting a haircut for several months. That's my favorite kind of haircut. So we're going to see how that behaves. I showed you what the dough looked like ahead of time, and we will have to see what it looks like afterwards. I also haven't even unloaded my fresh ingredients yet. So let's get over to the countertop. Yes, definitely beats the heat, and it's already paid off. Um, the shower I took last night, just it dried out before I could even like blink at it. It was great. I've got a couple of zucchinis. I just picked up a fresh bunch of garlic, so we're set for garlic for a while. There's our just that Pizza dough is already pretty oily because I put some olive oil on it, but we've got some fresh olive oil because I used up, you'll remember I used up my olive oil last time. And un tomato, just the one. Tomatoes are not in season, so I had to go to the grocery for that. There is a tomato guy at the farmer's market. He only sells tomatoes. He has a booth there. He must just pay for a yearly booth because he's got a booth there and he's always there. And when tomatoes are not in season, he's just kind of sitting there. Later, when tomatoes are in season, his booth is just jammed with tomatoes. And he wears a T-shirt that says "I heart tomatoes." So later on, we'll get some good tomatoes from the tomato guy. Right now, just have to go to the grocery store. I also picked up one of these. If we have a delay, maybe we'll play around with it. These guys are fun. See if you remember what that is. If you don't, oh well. So the dough is a pre-made. We just need to kind of assemble our things. And we're not, I've made a pizza like this before, somewhat like this before. So it's not as simple as like the standard American pizza, and it's got no sauce. We need to slice these guys up, and two of them is too much. We'll probably go with the yellow one. We'll go with the yellow one. I'm trying to think of what the colors will, how the colors will mix. This guy, yes, this is our Mame Zapote. They are coming in again, and this one has just a slight give to it, so it actually might be slightly underripe. Still not entirely sure how to gauge their ripeness consistently, because I'm not familiar with them. This is our mandolin. And we need to slice this guy into coins. Let's see, we're locked. We want relatively thick slices on this. Not hugely thick, but they can't be paper thin. Actually, we probably should go with, we should probably test. There's surprise, if you ever cut into one of these, you'll note that it's kind of a dry interior. But then if you let it sit for just a minute, it starts quickly beading moisture on the cut surface. There's a lot more water in these than there seems like, and when you bake it on a pizza, that water comes out, and you can make a soggy pizza if the slices are too thick, if you've got too many of them. It surprises you when the first time you do it. I need my board too, because you can't start slicing this guy until you got a clean, flat surface. Nose or tail? I like the nose end. So you see, if you've never had a squash before, it's wet to the touch. It's got a lot of moisture, but it doesn't quickly express it. It's not like a tomato where there's just a lot of juice in there. The moisture in a squash is bound up in the flesh, but it will express. when you try to bake it. That's probably the right size. What is that, a 3mm? That's not 3mm, that's about 1.5mm, but sure. That looks about just about right. Oops. And that looks wrong because I slipped. I'm gonna have to do it this way so I can push it. Personally, I think zucchini makes for an excellent pizza topping. It might not be super popular. In general. Oh, these slice great. Mandolin, one of those devices that you don't use it very often, but for the things that it does, dang, there's just no replacement. I couldn't make these slices with a knife. I mean, I literally could not make these slices with a knife. They're too thin and perfect. Even the wonky ones that I slipped on. Guy right here. That's probably enough of those. Set that aside and get ingredient bowls. So how's everybody's morning going? Mine's been busy. I left myself some dishes and they took a lot longer than I was expecting. I realized that I didn't have some ingredients, so I had to run out early, which also left me less time to prep when I got back. My camera's given this whole side of the countertop a blue color today for some reason. You need to be replaced, camera. You never know what you're doing. We're also not putting tomato sauce on this pizza. Instead, we are going to go with fresh tomato, for which we need a freshly sharpened knife. Here, I'll all the professional chefs do this. I practiced. I used to do it this way, which I think doesn't hurt, but it doesn't really do what the steel is supposed to do. And I see like the professionals, they'll pull it towards them like this. And that seems like a recipe for disaster. You slip, you'll go right into your finger. So I do the slide away method. If you're real worried about it, of course, put that tip straight down on a cutting board and draw the blade down along it like that. Tighter angle. You don't want a 45-degree angle, you want like an angle. So I do it this way because then if I slip, the knife is already going away. And you don't need to press very hard. The steel here does almost all of the work. And you should be touching up your knives with the steel there every time you use them. And then you're supposed to, officially, you're supposed to wash this off to get rid of any metal shavings that might be clinging to it. What I do is this. If you're in a professional kitchen, don't do that. Anyways, back to the tomato with this weird blue cast on this side. And you see, a freshly sharpened knife goes right through our tomato very easily. Oop. Until we break too much of the side and we can't get into it. There we go. Tomatoes are the big test of a knife. And this knife clearly needs a professional sharpening because the little hone I just did got us part of the way there, but we're still struggling a little bit. If you're having trouble with your tomato, give the skin a little nick with the point so that the edge has something to bite into. That's a trick I've learned. Because the point, you can apply much more directed pressure and you can get through. Tomatoes are the test for a good knife because they have this smooth, relatively tough skin, but they're very squishy and watery on the inside, so they have a lot of give. So if your knife is dull, it won't bite into the skin, it'll just crush. And a good sharp knife will just go right through the skin, and then you'll get these nice slices. I'm probably not going to use all of that for the pizza. I'll snack on the remainder. We need to wipe some tomato juice off of my board. We need an onion. A small onion. Oop. Onions are not the test of a sharp knife because the paper will often resist even a sharp knife. But you're supposed to take the paper parts off anyways. So there you go. And I would like, I want arcs or rings. Arcs because they are easier. Take our skins away. Well, I don't know what's causing it, so I can't make it happen again. I don't like it because I don't know what's causing it. I want consistent, because the lighting in here is exactly the same. On my eyes, the room looks the same as it always does. On the camera, it's kind of weirdly blue on one side, and I don't know why. And I'm sure next time it won't be. Okay. I mean, we're not going, I don't know why I got this bowl out. We're not going super complicated with this today, which is good because I lost a lot of time. But I do want some sliced garlic. We got those brand new heads of garlic, but I've got some in here already, so we're going to use one of my old ones first. If you get garlic, here's a fun fact about garlic. You'll get garlics like this sometimes where the stem has been sliced away, and you'll get garlics like this where the stem is on. Sometimes you'll get a garlic with the stem on, but the stem is like soft and floppy. The floppy stemmed garlics don't keep as long in storage as the stiff ones. And from my experience, the ones with the stems on them, if you leave the stem attached, it also keeps longer. Now, it takes up a lot more room, obviously, because it's got that big old stem on it. But I'm going to leave the stems on those over there because they should keep quite a bit longer in my storage. We'll use up these other ones first. The ones with the stems on just there are Farmer's Market, brand new Farmer's Market garlics. And they are a lovely color, aren't they? Whereas this guy that we're breaking up now is a store-bought garlic that I have left from the last time I stocked up before the Farmer's Market garlics were even coming in. Get rid of all these papers. In fact, this entire board of bits can move north there. We're going to get out your silicone tube and peel your garlics the easy way. Why not? Yep, the stems can be woven together for storage as well. It's a good way to hang garlics. Oh, that one didn't release. Now I don't have a root cellar, but that's what I would do if I had a root cellar. And I was especially if I was growing my own, I would use the stems to tie them off, and I'd hang them in the root cellar. Because you can hang them, so they wouldn't have to take up storage space alongside like the potatoes. Okay. Okay. Now we did just get a lot of garlic there. We're going to use all that garlic. We're going to thinly slice it. I don't trust the mandolin for these because they are so small compared to these other vegetables. So we're going to thinly slice them just with the knife. And they will be a topping. And yeah, there's quite a bit of it. I like garlic. if you hadn't noticed from all of my cooking projects up to this point, I like garlic. Miss Epsy, good morning. Oop, we have an ad coming up in under 2 minutes. Caution, caution. Good morning. How's your morning going? We are making a delicious pizza with the great abundance of vegetables that are surging in with the summer. Or I guess I'm not sure what time zone you're in, so it might not be morning. Good time zone to you. Veggie pizzas, in my experience, have a strong tendency to become rather extremely wet. Ooh, that might actually be enough garlic. I might not have needed the 6 cloves. Nah, more garlic. I'm also going to have to go cut some fresh basil, and we're going to put some dried oregano. California time. Pacific time. So it's really morning there. Wowzer. It's actually almost lunchtime for me because I had such a delayed start. In my neck of the woods, I hear California is getting a. I hear the whole West Coast actually is getting a crazy heat wave. In my neck of the woods, we're having smoke. The Canadian smoke came back. It's we're having that weird orange sun today again. Hopefully it helps keep the temperature down, but it's also rather humid, so that yes, very inconsiderate. It's not. It's supposed to not last quite so long this time, but we'll see. Canada has been quite troublesome. 109. Ugh. I would just die. I would just die at that temperature. I don't think I would go on. Tomato, zucchini, garlic, onion. It'd be nice to have something green. It would be nice to have something green here on the old board. Oh, I know. I think, I do. I gotta remember all these ingredients. I've got so many things. I've been trying to not go out and buy stuff because I have so much stuff right now. Because I'm loaded with vegetables. I have a bell pepper. That's going to be our green. See, normally I'd say, yeah, oh, the basil, that'll be green. My basil's purple. Oh, my basil's purple. But we can take a chunk off of this green bell pepper. Cut away the pith. Nobody likes the pith. Plus, you're supposed to put basil on after you cook it, not before, because it shrivels up in the oven. And the wetness of these toppings is one of the reasons I don't like putting a sauce on a veggie pizza, because that's just more wetness. Okay, that looks good. So we've got red, white, green, yellow, more white. And some purple when we get the fresh basil at the end. The thing has been in there now for almost the time I set it for. Yeah, this is going to be a very well-topped pizza at this point. This is such a picturesque board here too. Let's get out. I want spices. Do. Let's check in on our dough. It's been in there for 28.5 minutes of the 30 I set it for, at 95 degrees in the box, inside the box, inside the magic pot. So let's see what it looks like. See how well this thing actually proofs. Not very well is my assessment. Not terribly well. Here it is. It looks exactly the same. And also, it's still cold to the touch. I don't know what that machine was doing for the past half hour. But it was not getting up to temp for this thing. It was running because the coil is warm, so it was definitely generating heat. But this looks exactly how it did before. And again, it's still cold to the touch, which means it didn't generate enough heat to warm the dough ball against the chill of the fridge. We might just have to make do with cold dough then, because I don't... Okay, well, that's the first, so far, that's the first time the magic machine here has not delivered. Well, I mean, you can in theory just roll this out. It doesn't need to be necessarily aggressively risen. My oven's been off all this time as well, so that actually needs to get started preheating because this needs to be baked as well. So let's get the oven on. I might have accidentally let the magic out. I did stop it before the cycle was done. Maybe in that last minute and a half it would have suddenly warmed and proofed it. Interesting. I was excited about the proofing function. Maybe it can't handle fridge cold. Maybe it just can't handle... I've got the manual here. Maybe it just can't handle fridge cold. It doesn't say anything about it at all. Hmm. Hmm. It was fridge cold. It was, I don't know, it was probably 3 degrees above fridge cold because it had been sitting out since uh, when I delayed my start. I had forgotten to take it out of the fridge right away when I got up this morning. So it didn't come out of the fridge until after I got back with my hectic morning. Um, um, no, I understand that it was cold dough. I wanted that thing, the magic machine there, to wake it up. First of all, the proofing function only goes up to 95 degrees, which I think is too low. I would proof it at 110 personally, but it wouldn't let me. So that was the first thing that I noticed. Hmm. It definitely did warm it in there. It's probably, yeah, you're probably right. It's probably only meant for room temp dough to just kind of maintain. Hmm. Hmm. Well, problem solving time. Problem solving time. Just noticed there's a crusty bean dripping on the edge of the control panel. I dripped my bean last time. Well, the thing was bound to slip up eventually. Start the oven preheating. We've already started the oven preheating. It's already hot in there. Are we venting over here yet? The heat vent for my oven is over in this corner. So as the oven heats up, it should warm this corner of the stovetop. We're going to turn the guy off here, I guess, because I have no other use for him at this point. Oh, proof it in the magic thing for 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to put it in the oven briefly. We're gonna put it in the oven briefly. We do not want to bake this. Just to get it woken up a little bit. Yeah, we'll have to experiment with it in the future. I wish it wouldn't limit me to 95 degrees on the temperature. I would like it to be a little bit warmer than that. In the meantime, I've got a pizza pan. This is the pan that the pizza's going to go on. Look, it's Target branded. They put a Target, and this bugs me every time I use it because the dot is slightly off center. The stamp they used for this thing was perfectly centered, but the dot was not in the center of that stamp. So the little Target dot is just slightly off from the center of the whole circle. Also, it puts a Target branding on the bottom of my pizzas when I cook them. Oh, okay, that's already warmed the bowl quite a lot. And the surface of the dough is slightly warm. Yes, all of my pizzas are the property of Target Corporation. Funny story about this exact pan. I think I've told it before, but I'll tell it again because it's a great story. This exact pan. I needed a pizza pan, so I went to Target and I picked out a pizza pan. This one, it was on sale. I took it up to the register. They scanned the sticker, and the machine went, "Nope, that doesn't exist." So, so the cashier asked me, "How much does this cost?" And then I said, "It was on sale, so it was, I don't know, about $3." And she typed in $3 and gave me the thing for whatever number I said. Um, Good job. That's how you know you've got loyal employees. Couldn't be arsed. Simply could not be arsed. Putting it in the oven for just that short period of time really warmed this thing up. Yeah, I don't think I killed the yeast either. It just didn't warm up as I was expecting it to. Huh. Interesting. I would think, and I think other stores have the opposite policy. If it doesn't show up in the system, uh, it can't be sold. Except for the one time I was at Festival and the thing didn't show. It was the alligator. Didn't show up in the system, and they just let me have it. It's free. We can't sell it to you because there's no price on it. While we are waiting, since we are waiting, let's do something else. As I mentioned, I've had a little bit of a hectic morning. And I have not had a coffee. So let's have a coffee. No magic pot for this. Instead, we have electric kettle, which is itself kind of magical. Of course, this is an American electric kettle, so it takes like 4.5 minutes to boil water. Not like those British electric kettles that can do it in 2 minutes flat. I kind of wish I had an induction. Really, the thing because that's what's in the bottom of the magic pot there, is there's an induction coil. And I think that would, because this kettle just has an exposed resistance coil in the bottom. I think that having one with a removable carafe and a induction coil at the bottom would be way more efficient. Because all it needs to do is boil water, heat up, and the removable carafe with the induction coil underneath would also mean that I could put things other than plain water in it and not have a nightmare cleanup afterwards. This is our Door County This is decaf. I've been drinking decaf lately. Highland Grog. This is a weird, weird flavor. It tastes like caramel and Irish cream. Um, so yeah, we're gonna take a little bit of time, have a little bit of loose chit chat. See if we can't sink some ships with it. Have a little bit of coffee. The pizza should not take super long to bake either, so I'm not incredibly worried about us going crazy long today. So, yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. Once the dough proofs, we might end up using the dough unproofed. Because I just checked it again. It's a little bit softer than it was. It's a little bit less cold, but it's still like cool to the touch. Although there is now heat coming at it from below. So it should be starting to warm. And I think it's actually gotten a slightly tiny bit bigger. Hard to tell. But there it is, sitting on the stove. There it is, sitting on our stovetop, awaiting it getting bigger. Uh, I should have made my own dough. I should have remembered to take it out when I got up first thing this morning, and then we wouldn't have any of this debacle. It would have been warmed to room temp before I ever got this far. It would have been fine. So the plan here is, since there's no sauce going on the pizza, the plan is that the oil, which has already got a lot of the oil on it, but we'll use any dribbles that are in there, will be the main sort of lubricant with all these veggies, and then we are going to use some shredded mozzarella because I couldn't be arsed to get block mozzarella, but we can grate some other cheeses, some more flavorful cheese options. And that's the plan. That's the general plan. That's the gist. And I don't really have anything else planned in between there, because I didn't think this was going to take super long. I thought the magic pot was going to. We'll do dough experiments in the future. We will have to do dough experiments in the future with the magic pot. Because it can. No sauce. Just olive oil. I mentioned that earlier. I don't like putting sauce on an all fresh veggie pizza, because the sauce is very wet, and these veggies are very wet. So I'm just adding wet on wet. So in this case, I'm not adding sauce, and the veggies are going to already be plenty wet. for the pizza here. Otherwise, it gets soggy. I've done that, and it just gets soggy when you've got too much fresh veg on your pizza, especially if I'm putting sliced tomato on it. This is a pretty good tomato, honestly. Um, let's have a little snack. Tomato, a sprinkle of sea salt, and a tiny crack of pepper. And then you just take that little guy right there and you eat him. No. Basil's going on after it's baked so that it does not get all shriveled up and weird. We're putting on oregano. I think I'm going to skip the garlic and onion powders this time. We're also going to use the dried oregano, not the big crazy guy outside. Because I want... Although that could be interesting. Because I put that on and bake it in place. Maybe. Yeah. But yeah. So a little bit of a delay. Yeah, let's go look at the thing. I haven't been paying super close attention. It feels a little bit bigger. It's definitely softer. Maybe we should flip it. This is the dough that already has basil in it as well. It does, right? It feels a little bit bigger. Not a ton bigger, but a little bit. And the softness suggests that it's starting to get a little bit of air in it as well. So this is the basil flavor. So it has minced up basil in it already. Although, in my experience, you can't taste that on the store bought. It's just there for little specks in the dough. Oh, you know what we should, ooh. That was an exciting one. It was really, really tasty. We're gonna try making pretzels. We're gonna do pretzels again. We're gonna go back and make pretzels again with this magic pot as a proofing thing. Do that for the anniversary. We have an anniversary coming up. I can't remember exactly what day it's on. But I officially made affiliate last July. Oh, I got a notice from Twitch. I don't have to wait 24 hours to upload my VODs, which is great because I always forget, and then I end up uploading them like a week later in a big clump. Neat. I have an anniversary coming up because I got approved last July, and I'm not sure exactly what the date was. Oh, there it is. Oh, we actually missed. Oh, shoot, we missed it. I'll do a late one. My anniversary was on July the 6th, so we'll have to do a late 1 year anniversary celebration. 1 year of this nonsense. Actually, longer because that was when I got affiliate, but that's when I'm putting my pin in it at the moment because that's when it became official. Um, the coffee. The coffee is definitely steeped enough to have a coffee. Uh, get out our get out our bird mug. Bird. From the Cornell lab. Oops. Coffee. Add in 2, 1. Ad starting. I do think that the dough ball has gotten noticeably larger. We'll probably start fussing with it after the ad. I like my coffee with a little bit of cream in it and no sugar. And by a little bit of cream, I mean quite a bit of cream in it and no sugar. Mmm. It's such an interesting coffee flavor. They managed to get that Irish cream flavor into it without putting any whiskey in it. Mm. Mm. Oh, I needed that. Oh, I needed a coffee. Wow. Ooh wee. Um. There's the ad playing. So once the ad is over, we will start fussing with our dough because it has gotten bigger, just not massively, and I'm getting tired of waiting for it. So I'm just gonna start not waiting anymore. Screw it. I've had a hard time getting these dough balls to stay on this pan when I use oil as well, because it becomes so slick that they kind of contract from the sides. So we'll see if I can manage it this time. Having it warmed and softened would help that a lot as well. So hopefully it's not too stiff. Mm. I guess we're gonna save this guy and come back to him later. Um, in the week. That can be part of our celebration. Zero. Okay, there's our ad. We're back from the ad. I am going to say, ooh, he's getting a little hot on the bottom, actually, sitting on where the vent is. It's definitely a bit bigger. It's not massively bigger, but it's a bit bigger. And it's soft. It's quite a lot softer. Um, ooh, it actually stuck on the bottom. That's weird. Huh. That's a little weird. It shouldn't have stuck down there because it was oiled. Hmm. Uh, so I definitely should have flipped it. It's very warm on this side and very pillowy soft, and it's kind of stiffer on this side. And I'm no fancy pizza maker, so I'm going to make my pizza bigger by gently pushing it outwards to the edges of the pan. Rather than by any sort of fancy rolling or flipping or any of those things. That actually worked great. The slightly stiff, yeah, it's more consistent and much easier, but it is of course way less showy. But there you go. Easy. It's already got a sheen of oil on it. Wash my hands real quick because they are oily as well. It seems to be holding that size quite well as well. Yes, this is the basil flavor, which, as I mentioned, I've never been able to taste the basil in this stuff. It just tastes like dough. So it's pretty much just there for looks. Speaking of herbs, we're going to put the oregano on the bottom layer here. Okay. Lots of oregano. We're going to lay these guys down like we would with pepperonis. See if we've got enough. I actually want... Oh no, that's perfect. If I put the little broken one right in the center. Kind of arrange our green peppers. And our haphazard sprinkle of our onion half moons. I have more onion than I need. I cut a whole small onion, and that is more onion than I need for the pizza. There's always a temptation to overtop your pizzas, and don't. Just don't do it. And the wettest part of them all, these big ol' honkin' slices of tomato. Actually, oh crap. We're gonna cut the big ol' honkin' slices of tomato in half. And we're gonna retrieve that chunk. Do I deliver to Europe? Yes, I can deliver to Europe. expected in 3 to 5 weeks. Actually, Europe. Expected in 7 to 9 weeks. Okay, having the tomato pieces at the top will help them bake properly. Because they are rather wet. And having them sort of stick out will aid in our getting them to cook down. And then we're going to add just an unreasonable amount of garlic. Just a an ill-advised quantity of garlic. Spread these guys out a little bit more so they're not just in clumps. Oop. Dropped one of our garlics on the floor because it stuck to my hand. Put that guy on there. And then cheese. And I have the tail end of I had to buy more cheese because I have the very tail end of a shredded mozzarella. No, not safe for vampires. If you are a vampire, do not eat this pizza. Tail end of some cheese on there, but I bought a fresh one so that we can properly cheese this thing up. I am a fan. I know for picturesque reasons, you put toppings on top of the cheese. I am a fan of putting the cheese on top of the stuff more because it helps glue everything down, sort of compress the toppings or adhere the toppings to the pizza so you don't have things escaping. Huh, this bag of cheese was manufactured incorrectly and the zip seal does not work. Fortunately, I have an empty one here, but the zip seal does work, so I'll just put the cheese in the other bag. Because I know the zipper works on this one. It's been zipped up all this time. Bam. I got a defective bag. I've never seen that before. The sides of the zipper just didn't line up. Okay, this guy is going in the oven, but we're going to give him a brief sprinkle on the top of the cheese of a little bit more oregano, just so there are some bits visible. And do I want to put anything more on there? I'm tempted to put some paprika on top. And I think we're going to go for the non-smoked paprika because I think smoked paprika is... So paprika is one of the primary flavor elements in pepperoni. So I have done, and this is not the day to do a full experiment on it, but I have previously done an experiment where I tried to replicate the my mandolin fell off the sink. Where I've tried to replicate the flavor of pepperoni in a non-pepperoni setting. And I've come pretty close. It didn't occur to me until just now that I could have tried that here. We could have made a pepperoni spice blend. And made this like pepperoni pizza, veggie pepperoni pizza. Because honestly, aside from the spices in pepperoni, it doesn't taste like much. It's like some gnarly offcuts of pork. This guy's going in the oven now, and I don't know how long. We're just going to keep an eye on it. The oven's pretty hot because I want the crust to crisp up, and I want the wet toppings to kind of boil off their wetness. But adding the paprika now should give us some of that pepperoni flavor profile without having to add any meat. Now, all pepperonis are slightly different. Black pepper, garlic. We got garlic. Fennel. Fennel. Okay. So yeah, we'll do that. I need to just get that as a recipe down, the spice blend I was just talking about. Because I did it. I was very close. And the problem is you can't look on a package of pepperoni and see what's in it because it just says spices. Because United States food labeling laws are incredibly insane where they can say spices. And I went out of my way to ask what was in something because the label just said spices. And it was something that was prepared at the store. So they made it in the building. And I could talk to the person who made it, and he could not tell me what was in the spices, just that it was spices. It is frankly insane to me that that is a thing that is permitted to happen. What if I was allergic to parsley and you put parsley in it and labeled it spices? Just, I don't know. So I should just call Hormel on the phone, on the telephone, and ask them what spices are in their pepperoni, and then put that on a veggie pizza, and I guarantee you it'll taste like pepperoni. That's the thing. This rant I'm going on right now is basically I'm convinced at this point that you can have pepperoni pizza with no meat on it, and it'll taste exactly the same if you just put the spice blend directly on the pizza. That's all you have to do. Because I can't work out what else, what, you get what, a little bit of mouth feel from the pepperoni slices. There's already loads of cheese on it. It's not like you're missing out on. Anyways, that's my rant. I should make that an actual recipe. Pepperoni-less pepperoni pizza. Anyways, our pizza is in the oven. I didn't prepare a secondary project today. I've done a little bit of research. The problem with making your own pepperoni or looking for the spices is that it's slightly different. There's no like standard. There are a few things that are in all of them, but there's no like straight up standard. So there's lots of little variation, which is why I need to experiment and find a blend that I think is the blend that tastes the most like the real thing, but without the meat. They always have paprika, which is what gives pepperoni its bright red color. And I think they always have garlic, black pepper, and I know they always have those three. Because the pepper in pepperoni, near as I can tell, the piquancy comes from black pepper, not from red pepper, because it uses sweet paprika. Now I'm just kind of rambling. No, we're not. We're not just rambling. We're not just rambling. We're gonna make this. We're gonna make this right now in this weird blue light. We're gonna make this right now. Pepper, garlic. I want to say fennel seed. Let's see, what did they put in there? Spices. Spices. Of course they listed as spices. Okay. Get out a little spoon. Get out my grinder. Just slightly damp from having been washed, but it'll dry out very quickly. Over here, some paprika. Some garlic. That guy needs to dry out a little bit before I can do what I want to do with him. Paprika, black pepper, fennel, allspice, mustard, cinnamon, and allspice. Wasn't expecting the cinnamon and allspice. I've got some mustard. Cinnamon, mustard, allspice. Okay, a little bit of allspice. A tiny bit of mustard, which we're going to crush in with the black pepper. This guy really needs to be fully dry. Just a tiny bit of mustard. Yeah, that's mustard. I have two mustards. I do. Huh. We're going to combine these so I can get rid of one of my bottles. Okay, well, didn't realize I had two things of mustard. We combined those into one thing of mustard, and then we have less bottles of spices to take care of. Some black pepper and some fennel. How much fennel? And some fennel. And the tiniest dash of cinnamon. Cinnamon is very overpowering. And a pinch of salt. In the grinder, salt is an abrasive. It helps you pulverize these tough seed hulls. And in the spice blend, it's a flavor enhancer, which lets you taste the stuff. It's really hard to taste dry spices on their own, but if you add just a tiny pinch of salt and wet your finger, they wake up. Stir that around. Remember that I was going to add just a scooch of MSG to it. Okay. Taste it. More paprika. And a little bit of the smoked kind. Not too much. Smoked kind has a really strong flavor. Taste. Yeah. That's pretty close. Just throwing those things together, that's pretty close. Sprinkle that on the finished pizza when we're done. I'll fuss with this. I'll fiddle with this. This is a... I swear we can get this perfect. I swear I had one earlier that was much closer. And it might have had more smoked paprika in it. I'm not sure. But this is one of those things where... Think back to the last time you tasted a pepperoni. What did it taste like? Did it taste like pork? Or did it taste like a bunch of spices? It tasted like a bunch of spices. It felt in your mouth like a piece of pork, but it tasted like a bunch of spices. So why not just put this stuff directly on the pizza? I'm going to call up Hormel on my own time and accost them for what's in the spices that they put on their put in their pepperoni. Yeah, I can save this for later. I don't have to use it now. Do I have a little? I do. I have some storage jars. I have to remember to label that. No, not a lot in that little storage jar. I should have used the small storage jar. But yeah, I know this was just on a whim, throw this together. I am actually going to literally switch to the smaller storage jar. Oops. Wash this guy out. But yeah, this is a. We should be cutting down on meat in our diets in general, and a lot of people complain that you cut the meat out, you lose flavors, but for something like pepperoni, and there's other examples of similar things where the meat's not what you're tasting. I know you think you're tasting the meat, but the meat's not what you're tasting. What you're tasting is a bunch of spices that have been thrown in, and the meat is like a vessel for them. You could add those spices to any old thing. You could add this spice blend to beans and have pepperoni beans. My pizza, speaking of pizzas, my pizza just made a loud sizzling sound, as though something erupted. So I'm gonna go take a peek. We're over here now. Ooh, it's poofy. How long has that been in there? I haven't been paying attention. I have not kept track of how long that was in there. We have an ad in progress. I will not take this out until after the ad. So that'll give us 15 minutes, if you're correct at 14. Time to have another sip of coffee. Finish off the coffee. So yeah, as soon as the ad's done, we will pull that out, take a look at it, because it was looking pretty good, and it's making some loud sizzling noises. By the way, I've had this at 425, which I think sounded like a good amount. I wanted it rather hot, but not crazy screaming hot. Because I'm not doing like an Italian style pizza. Not really. 5, 4, 3, 2, and a 1. And welcome back from the advertisement, those of you who advertise with me. Cloud of steam comes out of the oven. This here is what I have created. We've got good browning on the top, so I don't think I want it to be in there any longer for risk of it burning. Our crust definitely poofed. Which has given us quite a lot of lift. I'm not seeing a lake of juices, which is a positive thing. I'm always worried about that with a all fresh veggies pizza, that we get too much liquid and it just kind of forms a lake. It's sizzling. I really want to check underneath. It's not stuck. Ooh, and it's now, there doesn't appear to be any sog on the bottom either. So I believe we've gotten away with it. And that was a pretty easy all told. Let's, while it's cooling a little bit on the pan, we'll center it. No. This corner for photos, I think, is the best lit. I'm going to grab photos of it uncut on the pan here. Before we even get into the, oh, where did I put, oh, there it is. Before we even get into the slicing phase. Basil on top, yes, but not immediately. If you put it on when it's too screaming hot, it's just as if you baked it, and it kind of shrivels up. So I'm gonna grab some photos of it right now. Then I'll go out and cut some basil. Okay. Now I'll go cut some basil. Basil keeps trying to flower aggressively, so I keep having to cut it. So we got to make more things that call for basil. Damn it, basil, stop flowering so aggressively. Someone is playing the Ride of the Valkyries out here. I don't know if you could hear that, but I certainly can. Okay, we're back with my purple basil. Lots of flowers again. I gotta cut this stuff every day to keep these flowers down. They're just going nuts. I'm gonna have to start harvesting it more aggressively and drying it because it's to the point where I can't quite keep up with it for just use to keep the flowers down. I wasn't expecting. I planted an entire packet of seeds, and I wasn't expecting the entire packet to come up and do amazingly well. But guess what? They all came up. They're super crowded, and they're all flowering at the same time. A little bit later on, I'm considering letting some of them go to seed, so I can collect the seeds, so I can replant them again next year. You know, like agriculture do. So let's. Oop, a mite. You're lost, little mite. You came in on the basil. Sorry about that. You definitely couldn't see that mite. He was so small I could barely see him. Okay. That's more basil than I need. let's get the guy off of the baking pan and onto a board. Still hot? Still hot? Yes, but not crazy hot. I like this pizza pan. Probably not good in terms of like making proper pizza, but I like it because it is thin enough that it heats up very quickly and cools down very quickly, so that it can be handled. So that you can put it in the oven cold, and it'll heat up very quickly and crisp the bottom. And it cools down pretty quickly, so you can handle it quite soon after it comes out. So there's our pizza, and there's our cutter. We'll give it a good cut. Gonna go for the classic 6s. Ooh, juicy tomatoes. Tomatoes have retained their juice. And now we basil the top. I used to put the basil on and then bake it, but I've learned that it kind of it burns off a lot of the sort of aromatic qualities of the basil if you put fresh basil in too early. I've also learned that if you put the basil on right after you take it out of the oven, it kind of shrivels up and goes black in the heat. Okay, another shot of this before I've removed any slices. We can actually move this into the proper camera station. And then we'll give it a taste, and we'll see if this is worth the trouble. Spoilers, it is. Spoilers, it was hardly any trouble at all, and it's definitely worth it. So be back in just un momento. Okay. And then we come back and we have a taste. And I'll probably end up eating 3 slices of this. What I'll do is I'll eat 2 slices, and then I'll be like, ooh, I could probably go for 1 more. And then I'll get to the end of the 3rd slice, and I'll be like, oh, I should have just had the 2. Because that's how I eat pizza. I always eat 1 more slice than I should. And I got my eye on specifically this slice. We have a cheese pull. We got a cheese pull. Saizan wants a moisten before I take my first bite of pizza. Moist. And now, let's tuck in and I'll tell you all about how this thing tastes. I can say that we have a good crust on the bottom, no tiny bit of sag, but no flop. So we got a good stiff crust on the bottom. Get up here, get up here. So yeah, good crust on the bottom, promises some crunch. It's hot. It's a little bit doughy at the top of the crust, and I think it's because our toppings were so wet. We probably could have blasted it a little bit hotter to try to counteract that, but at some point, it's unavoidable. So, it tastes really good. So you can see it's a little doughy at the top. It's not raw dough, but Paul Hollywood would say it's underbaked. And that's just on account of the fact that it's got wet from the tomato. And it's less so the further you get to the edge of the pizza as well. It's only right in the middle. So right in the middle, like about that part of the middle, is a little underbaked on account of the wet toppings. The outer edge, no problem. And again, it's not raw dough. It's just that it's kind of gone soggy. And as you can see when I held it up, even with that sog, it's not flop. We still got a nice crust on the bottom. It's surprisingly understated for all the stuff I put on it. It's got that nice sort of chew from the cooked cheese on the top. The vegetables are in nice big chunks, so you get slightly different flavor in each bite. I really like the fresh tomatoes on this. They were cut large enough that they've retained a lot of their tomato flavor, and they're quite juicy still. In between them, zucchini gives a fun texture variation without bringing a ton of extra flavor to the party because it doesn't taste like much to begin with. Surprisingly, the garlic is not overwhelming. It's definitely very present, and when you bite into one of the pieces, you get a burst of roast garlic flavor because they kind of, I put them on toward the end, so they kind of hung out. So especially honestly, I should have put the garlics on after the cheese, so they were literally on the top layer, because then they would have gotten extra roasty. Because that roast garlic flavor is so nice. So you get little bursts of it, but because they're in big chunks, it's not like pervasive. It's bursts. It's these little like fireworks of garlic flavor. Yeah. So overall, surprisingly understated, with like a lot of variation in each slice and a lot of fun pops of flavor in the bites. Mm. Hmm. I really like the fresh tomato. I think we could have done this with crushed tomato as well. But you'd have to really drain it out. Yes, a beer would go good with this. So would a wine. This has got some. It's got some niceness to it. I've had veggie pizzas. This happens a lot when you get a veggie pizza at like a chain, where they'll have the veggie option, and it'll be like disappointing because they don't know what they're doing with the veggie pizza. They're just taking their regular pizza, taking all the meat off of it, and then filling the spaces in with some extra vegetables, which is not, that's not how you do it. you construct with all the flavors in mind, and with textures in mind, because vegetables offer a lot of different texture options. So you've got this slight crunch of the onions. You've got the, I don't know how to describe this texture. It's almost like soft plastic. It doesn't resist you at all, but you can tell it's there, of the zucchini. The juicy bursts of these thick cut tomatoes, and the nice crunch of the crust underneath. And fresh basil is always a way to elevate a pizza. Even if you just got a frozen pizza, take some fresh basil, plunk it on top of your frozen pizza after you've baked it, and boy, you'll be like, wow, this is so much better. Basil is a huge element of making pizzas just that one step better. I've learned that by my own experimentation. So that's a veggie pizza. And that's how I would generally do a veggie pizza. I would skip the sauce and build up with veggies instead. Yeah, and don't skimp on the cheese. We got plenty of cheese on here, but that's another thing. If you skip on the cheese, your pizza quickly stops tasting pizza-y. Having that, even though mozzarella is an extremely bland cheese, having that cheese element in there, like, pulls it together, helps it hold together, and sort of pulls the flavors into a pizza instead of a bunch of roast vegetables on top of bread, which is literally what we made, but you know. So yeah, try it yourself. Those store-bought balls of dough are super easy to work with. Just remember to take them out of the fridge ahead of time instead of at the last minute, so that they have a chance to come up to room temp, so that they'll proof, instead of not doing that. That was the one snafu we had today, the only snafu we had today. Everything else worked great, actually. We'll give the proofing option on the thingy there another run through later on, perhaps for pretzels. That sounded really good. Well, oh, maybe I could get some lye, and we could do actual lye dipped pretzels. We'll keep poison control on speed dial for that one. So yeah, if you want the recipe for this, there is no recipe for this. I just showed you the recipe for this, and I just kind of made it up as I was going. But yeah, do it yourself. This one is easy, and you can super customize the toppings. For the summer, I suggest vegetables because there's so many of them and they're cheap. They're so super available right now. Let's see where we are going. Oh, she's still on. Because we're gonna wrap us up and raid us out. Lots of people on right now. So it's Saturday, and it's past noon on Saturday, so there's more people on than there are normally when I end earlier. Let's see, whom have we not visited in a while? So earlier this morning, I had on Michelle, who was playing. If you'll remember, many moons ago, the game Sim Ant. Well, there's a new Ant game that is not Sim Ant. And there hasn't been a Sim Ant since the original. And that's what I had on earlier, was watching Michelle play Empire of the Undergrowth, which is like a modern Sim Ant. So let me click to unmute. Pop over there. I'm surprised she's still on, because she's in New Zealand, and she's been on for a long while. We're gonna go see that. We're gonna go see her. That's the plan. As for me, as for you, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for showing up. I know I had a weird late start and then the proof didn't work, but whatever. It all came together in the end. We're fine. I've got delicious pizza. Potentially 3 meals if I control myself, 2 if I don't. Um, um, but yeah, I wasn't paying attention and we missed the anniversary, so we're gonna do before the end of the month an anniversary for celebrating my getting affiliates last July. I should have known. One of you hit 12 months this month, and I should have been like, oh, that's my signal. So something. I'll come up with some celebratory something or other. But yeah, I had a load of fun. I hope you had a load of fun. Let's go check out this ant game. It was very hectic, and she might not even be able to look over at chat, so we might just get overlooked in the raid. But that's where I'll be headed back to anyways, so we may as well go there with some friends. Yeah. Take care of yourselves. I need a sign off. Signing off. All great radio hosts have the signature sign off.